Can I start?
Sure.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for the Kerala Hindu Association of North America for giving me this opportunity. In case you're wondering how this came about.
Before you start, we have our prayer and all those things. So
yes, that's why I was wondering. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Please.
Minnie will start it.
Yes.
Minnie.
Can I start right now?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. നമസ്കാരം. കേരള ഹിന്ദുസ് ഓഫ് നോർത്ത് അമേരിക്കയുടെ അതിമനോഹരമായ ഒരു സുദിനത്തിലേക്കാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് എത്തിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. എല്ലാവർക്കും ഈ ഒരു സുപ്രഭാതത്തിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. കേരള ഹിന്ദുസ് ഓഫ് നോർത്ത് അമേരിക്കയുടെ വീര 25ന്റെ നമ്മുടെ കുടുംബാംഗങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഈ ഒരു ഫോറത്തിലേക്ക് ഞാൻ സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴും പറയുന്നത് പോലെ പ്രായം ഒരു നമ്പർ മാത്രമാണ്. മനസ്സിന്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ ഒരിക്കലും പ്രായമാകുന്നില്ല. ഇന്നത്തെ നമ്മുടെ ഈ 5 മാസങ്ങൾ പിന്നിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന കേരള ഹിന്ദുസ് നോർത്ത് അമേരിക്കയുടെ ഈ ഒരു വീര 25ന്റെ 5 മാസങ്ങൾ പിന്നിട്ടിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ വളരെയധികം 2 വയസ്സുള്ള കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങൾക്ക് മുതൽ അങ്ങേ അറ്റം വരെ നമ്മുടെ വളരെ ക്രിയേറ്റീവായ ഊർജ്ജസ്വലയായ നമ്മുടെ പ്രസിഡന്റ് ചേച്ചി എന്ന് തന്നെ പറയണം. ഒരുപാട് ഫോറംസ് രൂപീകരിച്ചു. നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും അതിനകത്ത് ആക്റ്റീവ് ആക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഓരോ ദിവസവും നമുക്ക് തോന്നും എന്താണ് ഇനി അടുത്തത് ചേച്ചിയുടെ മനസ്സിൽ നിന്ന് വരുന്നതാണ്. അത്രയും മനോഹരമായിട്ട് 5 മാസങ്ങൾ പിന്നിട്ടു. ഇനി വളരെ കുറച്ച് 13 മാസങ്ങളാണ് നമ്മുടെ വിരാട് 25ന്റെ കലാശക്കൊട്ടിലേക്ക് എത്തുന്നത്. അതിനു മുമ്പേ നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവരെയും കോർത്തിണക്കിക്കൊണ്ടുള്ള പല ഫോറങ്ങൾ രൂപീകരിക്കണം. അതിലെ ചേച്ചിയുടെ മനസ്സിലെ അവസാനമായി വന്ന ഒരു ഇതാണ് ഇന്ന് തുടങ്ങിയിരിക്കുന്ന സീനിയർ ഫോറം. അതിൽ നമ്മുടെ വിശ്രമവേളകൾ ആനന്ദകരമാക്കൂ എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഇതോടുകൂടി തന്നെ ഇതിൽ എന്തൊക്കെ ബെനിഫിറ്റുകൾ ആൾക്കാർക്ക് എന്തിനെല്ലാം ഉപകരിക്കും, സീനിയർ ഫോറത്തിലുള്ളവർക്ക് എങ്ങനെ ആക്റ്റീവ് ആവാം, എന്തെല്ലാം കാര്യങ്ങൾക്ക് പ്രയോജനപ്പെടും എന്നെല്ലാം കാര്യത്തിനായി ഇന്ന് തുടങ്ങിയിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു സീനിയർ ഫോറത്തിലേക്ക് ഞാൻ എല്ലാവരെയും സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. അതിനായി ആദ്യമായി നമ്മുടെ ലോലി ആൻഡ് പാപ്പ് നമ്മുടെ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളുടെ പ്രോഗ്രാമിൽ കൂടെ പ്രശസ്തയായ നമ്മളെ മിടുക്കി വൈശാഖിക്കുട്ടിയെ ഞാൻ ഒരു പ്രയർ സോങ്ങിനായിട്ട് ക്ഷണിക്കുകയാണ്. മോളെ സ്വാഗതം.
മന്ദാരപൂവിനും മഞ്ഞിൻ കനത്തിനും ചന്തം ചൊരിയുന്ന ചാരുമൂർത്തേ, മന്ദാരപൂവിനും മഞ്ഞിൻ കനത്തിനും ചന്തം ചൊരിയുന്ന ചാരുമൂർത്തേ, ചിന്തയിൽ വാക്കിൽ പ്രവൃത്തിയിലൊക്കെയും ചിന്തനെ നൽകനെ തൂവിളിച്ചം, സന്താപമെല്ലാം അകന്നൊരൻ മാനസെ സന്തോഷ സൗഖ്യങ്ങൾ സഞ്ചയിക്കാൻ, മന്ദാരപൂവിനും മഞ്ഞിൻ കനത്തിനും ചന്തം ചൊരിയുന്ന ചാരുമൂർത്തേ. താങ്ക് യു.
Excellent.
വളരെ മനോഹരമായിട്ടുണ്ട് മോളെ. മോൾ 5ാം ക്ലാസ്സിലാണ് പഠിക്കുന്നത് ന്യൂയോർക്കില്. മിടുക്കിക്കുട്ടി. നമ്മുടെ ഇനിയും ഒരുപാട് കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങള് ലോലിയൻ പോപ്പിലുണ്ട്. ഓരോരുത്തരെ ചേച്ചി ഇങ്ങനെ ഓരോ പ്രോഗ്രാമിലായിട്ട് കൊണ്ടുവന്നുകൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കും. അടുത്തതായി നമ്മുടെ എന്നും ക്രിയേറ്റീവായിട്ട് ഊർജ്ജസ്വലയായ നമ്മുടെ എന്താ പറഞ്ഞ പ്രസിഡന്റ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമുക്കൊരു രൂപമൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് വേറെ എന്തോ ഒരു ഇമേജ് ആണ്. ഇത് നമ്മുടെ ചേച്ചി പ്രസിഡന്റിനെ ഞാൻ വെൽക്കം സ്പീച്ചിനായി ക്ഷണിക്കുകയാണ്. ചേച്ചി നമുക്ക് സീനിയർ ഫോറത്തിനെ പറ്റിയുള്ള ബാക്കിയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞു തരും. നിഷ ചേച്ചി സ്വാഗതം.
എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. KHNAയുടെ ഏറ്റവും വാല്യുബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഫോറം എന്ന് വേണം എനിക്ക് സീനിയർ ഫോറത്തെ കുറിച്ച് പറയാൻ. കാരണം അനുഭവജ്ഞാനവും ലോകപരിചയവും ഞങ്ങളെക്കാട്ടിലൊക്കെ ഒരുപാട് ഉള്ള ഒരു കൂട്ടം ആൾക്കാരാണ് സീനിയർ ഫോറത്തിലിരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും എനിക്ക് നിങ്ങളുടെയൊക്കെ കാല് തൊഴുത് വേണം ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഫോറത്തിന്റെ പരിപാടി തുടങ്ങാനായിട്ട്. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരുടെയും അനുഗ്രഹങ്ങൾ KHNAയുടെ ഈ ഒരു വർഷത്തെ പരിപാടികളിൽ ഉണ്ടാവണം. ഓരോരുത്തരും മനസ്സുകൊണ്ട് ഇപ്പം ഞങ്ങളെ ഒന്ന് അനുഗ്രഹിക്കണം. അതാണ് ആദ്യം എനിക്ക് പറയാനുള്ളത്. കാരണം ഇത് ഏറ്റെടുത്ത് ഞങ്ങൾ വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന ദൗത്യം ചെറുതല്ല. നിങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഈ വഴികളിൽ നടന്ന പല പല സംഘടനകളുടെയൊക്കെ തലപ്പത്തിരുന്നവരാണ് ഇതിലുള്ളവർ പലരും. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള പ്രസ്ഥാനങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ട് നടക്കാനുള്ള അനുഗ്രഹം നിങ്ങളുടെയൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവണം എന്ന് ആദ്യം തന്നെ പറയട്ടെ. പിന്നെ സീനിയർ ഫോറത്തിന്റെ പ്രവർത്തനത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് പറയുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് അമേരിക്കയിൽ ജീവിക്കുന്ന സീനിയേഴ്സിനെ കുറിച്ച് എനിക്ക് പറയാനുള്ളത്, നിങ്ങൾ ഒരിക്കലും റിട്ടയർ ചെയ്യാത്ത ഒരു ഗ്രൂപ്പാണ്. ജോലിയിൽ നിന്നൊക്കെ വിരമിച്ചാൽ പോലും നിങ്ങളൊക്കെ വളരെ ഡൈനമിക് ആയിട്ട് പല കാര്യങ്ങളിലും ഇൻവോൾവ് ആയിട്ടൊക്കെ തന്നെ എപ്പോഴും ഇരിക്കുന്നവരാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ടൊരു സാധാരണ ഒരു സീനിയർ ഫോർത്തെ ഹാൻഡിൽ ചെയ്യുന്ന പോലെ അല്ല അമേരിക്കൻ സീനിയേഴ്സിനെ ഹാൻഡിൽ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. എന്നിരുന്നാലും നിങ്ങളുടെ ടൈം എങ്ങനെ ഈ സംഘടനയ്ക്ക് ഉപകരിക്കുന്ന രീതിയിൽ നമുക്ക് പ്രയോജനപ്പെടുത്താം എന്ന് ചിന്തിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് മാത്രമാണ് ഈ ഫോറം മുന്നോട്ട് വെച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. അറ്റ് ദ സെയിം ടൈം ഫോർ യു ടു കം ടുഗെദർ, നോ ഈച്ച് അതർ, സ്പെൻഡ് യുവർ ഈവനിങ്സ് ഇൻ എ ഫൺ വേ, അതുമൊക്കെ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമാണ്. നിങ്ങളിൽ ചിലർ തന്നെ റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു പരിപാടി നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ സംഘടിപ്പിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. കാരണം നമുക്ക് ഈ രാജ്യത്ത് ജീവിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് അവൈലബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ബെനിഫിറ്റ്സും അത് നമുക്ക് ഏറ്റവും പ്രയോജനപ്രദമായിട്ട് പലപ്പോഴും നോട്ട് നോയിങ് ദ സിസ്റ്റം ആണ് നമുക്കൊക്കെ പ്രായമാകുമ്പോൾ ഒരു പ്രശ്നം. ബിക്കോസ് തിങ്സ് കീപ് ചേഞ്ചിങ്. അപ്പോൾ വി നീഡ് ടു അപ്ഡേറ്റ് അവർ സെൽസ് ആസ് ടു, പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഇൻ ദി ഏരിയ ഓഫ് മെഡിസിൻ ആൻഡ് ഹെൽത്ത് കെയർ ഇൻഡസ്ട്രി. അതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് നിങ്ങളുടെ റിക്വസ്റ്റ് പ്രകാരം തന്നെയാണ് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം വെച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഐ വോണ്ട് ടേക്ക് എ ലോങ് ടൈം. ഐ എം സോ ഹാപ്പി. ഒരുപാട് ആൾക്കാർ ഇതിൽ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. പീപ്പിൾ ആർ സ്റ്റിൽ കമ്മിങ് ഇൻ. The official invitation and welcome for our guest will be done separately. അതുകൊണ്ട് എൻ്റെ ജോലി ഈ ഒരു ഫോറം തുടങ്ങി അതിനെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്ത് കൂടെ നിൽക്കുന്ന ഒരു 125-130 ആൾക്കാരുണ്ട് ഇതിനകത്ത്. സോ ഇറ്റ്സ് ഗോയിങ് വെരി വെൽ, വെരി ഡൈനമിക്, ആൻഡ് ഐ എം വെരി താങ്ക്ഫുൾ ടു അനഘ ഫോർ ഓൾ ദി എഫേർട്സ് ടു പുട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ടുഗെദർ. അനഘ ഒരുപാട് ഹോംവർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. എല്ലാവരെയും കൂട്ടി നിർത്തി കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ നടത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് പോകുന്നുണ്ട്. Let it grow, let it be very dynamic, and let all the wisdom come to KHNA through you. And I'm waiting to see all of you in person at Virat 25. Thank you, Dr. M. Ram Mohan. He's a veteran in this field. But തൊണ്ട നല്ല സുഖമില്ല എങ്കിൽ പോലും ഈ ഡേറ്റ് മാറ്റണ്ടെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ മാറ്റാതെ വന്നു എന്നുള്ളത് വലിയൊരു കാര്യമാണ്. അഗെയിൻ റിട്ടയർ ചെയ്ത ശേഷം 24/7 വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരാളും കൂടിയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ആ റോൾ മോഡൽ ഫോർ us as well. പിന്നെ ഒഫീഷ്യൽ ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്ഷൻ about who he is going to come. Thank you all for joining. മിനി അൺമ്യൂട്ട് പ്ലീസ്. മിനിയെ കേട്ടില്ല കേട്ടോ, അൺമ്യൂട്ട്.
താങ്ക് യു നിഷ് ചേച്ചി. വളരെ ഷോർട്ട് ആൻഡ് സ്വീറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ചേച്ചിക്ക് പറയാനുള്ളത് ചേച്ചി മനോഹരമായി പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പോൾ അടുത്തതായി നമുക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ഡോക്ടർ ചിത്പുരം സാറിനെ ഇൻവൈറ്റ് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ളതാണ്. സാറ് ISROയിലും നാസയിലും എല്ലാം എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് സൈഡിൽ വളരെയധികം വർഷങ്ങൾ വർക്ക് ചെയ്ത ഒരാളാണ്. എന്നാൽ ഇന്ന് അദ്ദേഹം കൂടുതൽ സമയം ചെലവഴിക്കുന്ന ആധ്യാത്മികമായ കാര്യങ്ങൾക്കും ഹിന്ദുയിസത്തിനും വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. ഭാഗവതത്തിൽ കൂടുതൽ റിസർച്ചുകൾ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ് അദ്ദേഹമായിരിക്കും നമ്മുടെ ഇന്നത്തെ ഗസ്റ്റിനെ വെൽക്കം ചെയ്യുന്നത്. നമ്മുടെ ഈ ഫോറത്തിലെ വെൽക്കം സ്പീച്ചിനായിട്ട് ഞാൻ അദ്ദേഹത്തെ ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു.
Namaste. I welcome the wise senior Hindus of North America to listen to the important talk of today. But for you listeners, this talk would not have been arranged. And I have great pleasure in welcoming Dr. Nisha Pillai and her KHNA team who made this lecture program possible. And it's my privilege to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Ram Mohan, MD. He hails from Karur, Tamil Nadu. He was a brilliant student, a top intern, and resident. He has been in private practice in USA from 1976 to 2019. He is a founder of many temples and several educational institutions. He has dealt with Medicare in its purest early form with supplemental coverage to present-day so-called Advantage plans, Advantage PPO, Advantage HMO plans. He has seen it all, both as a provider of care to patients and as a consumer of healthcare for himself, his family, and his friends. From simple Medicare supplements to supplemental plan A to Z, and so on and so forth. Understanding the vagaries of medical insurance necessitates being a CPA, MBA in finance, and a predictor of future illnesses one might have. I don't know about you, but I am none of these. Therefore, I am eager to listen to him so that I can correct my mistakes. I respectfully invite Dr. Ram Mohan to give his talk. Dr. Ram Mohan.
Thank you all. First, as usual, I'll start with the disclaimer. In the invitation, it says Ram Mohan, President of TNF. I'm a past president. I just wanted to correct that. The second thing is I have no financial disclosure. So what I'm saying is in the interest of the people and not in the interest of any insurance companies or any of those for-profit entities. You can hear me all right, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I always thought Tamil, people speak Tamil very fast. Malayalam is faster.
Yes.
I think the Tamil goes like Tejas train and you guys are like Vande Bharat, you know, really good, very, very. And that young man who sang, he really touched my heart. I think I know a little bit of Carnatic music. To me, it sounded like Karnataka Devagantari, and he sang with a very good command. That set a different tone to the entire presentation. So with that one, I'll start next. The way it came about, I live in a 55 plus community in Tampa. My good buddy, Gopi Nair, introduced me to Nisha Pillai, Kerala Hindu North American Association. And he was the pillar for me emotionally. I lost my dear wife about 2 years ago and I was devastated and I was torn to pieces. Searching for peace, I came to Anand Vihar and I think Gopi Nair gave me such a tremendous support and I'm deeply owed to him. So while talking, he was mentioning about Kerala Hindu North American Association. He was talking about Nisha Pillai. And then he was mentioning about this talk on Medicare. Would I be interested? I said, certainly. So with that kind of a background, that's how I ended up making a presentation here today. We'll start with the presentation. Medicare, as you may or may not know, started with a very good intention of helping senior citizens to provide them with valuable healthcare coverage. It goes back to 1960s. I think Lyndon B. Johnson was mainly responsible. There was a lot of opposition from, as you know, this is a capitalistic country, and anytime a government tries to do something good, there are 5-10 people saying they're wrong, that everything has to be done through private corporations, private entities, capitalism, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, there is no such thing as, in my opinion, compassionate capitalism. The capitalism is out there to make money at some cost or other. The welfare of the people is secondary. Whether we agree or not, it's not a criticism about capitalism. It's just an observation about the drawback in pure, simple-minded capitalism. I believe more like Warren Buffett, a compassionate capitalism is what we need. So when the Medicare was introduced, believe it or not, it was a great boon for all the retirees. So they don't need to worry about healthcare, and healthcare was expensive. You'll be surprised when the Medicare started, it was considered expensive, but you'll be laughing when I tell you the hospital rate was about $50 a day. ICU was about $75. And when I started practice in 1976, I actually started a cost containment committee, the only committee in North America. And JAMA, AMA Medical Journal, even wrote about me saying in a small hospital in Warren, Ohio, they have started a cost containment committee. The point is, what was perceived as expensive, Medicare came as a rescue, and it was a very big relief, as I said, to all the retirees. But, slowly, depending upon who's the ruling party or who is the dominant factor in terms of setting up the tone for the country's healthcare. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm a very, very strong independent guys, and I criticize on both sides. Johnson with the ultra-liberal brought in some new concepts, and then it was put into doldrums by the capitalistic attitude, and then bringing in insurance companies for profit who were skimming the cream on the top with the very little money going for the care of the people. And then Obamacare had to come to bail out those people who could not afford to pay the insurance premium. So it has the pendulum has been swinging back and forth, back and forth. So let us just focus on the Medicare. Let us not go into private healthcare for people less than 65. So when the Medicare was introduced, even though the cost was, as I said, at that time was perceived high, it was reasonable within the means of the people's income, and they said, okay, we will cover 80% of the cost of the hospitals. Nobody even talked about the cost of doctors' bills, etc., because they were really minuscule those days. Even now, the physicians' cost total less than 5% of the total Medicare bill. Still, the perception there is that it's the physicians who are causing all the expensive decisions. So what happened was they introduced slowly for-profit insurance companies trying to chisel away a piece of the large Medicare pie. Medicare pie was billions of dollars, and the insurance companies just got a foothold, and they started so-called Advantage plan. They said, well, why do you want to go to Medicare? Instead, we will do something different. We will do this, we will do that. Kind of luring people into those plans. Now, what happened was Medicare, or at least the people who were considered that insurance should take over Medicare completely, saw this as an opportunity, and they said, well, why don't we increase the premium, increase the benefit to the people under insurance, and we will also give a larger portion of money to the so-called Advantage plans. And more people will be taken away from the Medicare. And at some point, insurance companies will be managing. The argument is that anything government does is bad. Anything private industry does is better. So with that kind of a thing, they are slowly pushing.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. Page marunilla. Can you please change the pages, sir? It is still Medicare traditional. That is the only page we are seeing
Yeah,
right now.
I'm coming to that next.
Okay.
I'm coming to that next. Okay, this is just a request to hold all your questions to the end of the presentation. Now, I also put a note here that if you need to talk to me instead of interrupting during the presentation, you can always call me on the phone number given here, as well as my email, and I'll be very happy to answer and address the questions. So this is what Medicare is. It is, the story of the three blind men trying to find what an elephant is. Medicare is a behemoth. And depending upon who is looking at it, somebody who is in a Medicare HMO, he thinks that's what it is, and that's great. Another person is the PPO looking at a different part of the animal, and the traditional people looking at different one. Nobody really knows the full picture. That's what's been happening into Medicare. So what we need to understand is that what we talk about whenever somebody says Medicare, We are talking about the very first plan introduced by the government, which was a traditional Medicare or Medicare with supplement. So initially, when they started, they said, okay, we are going to cover 80% of the hospital expenses. Rest you pay from your pocket. So most people just had Medicare. They also call it Part A because Part A is given free. And about 30, 40 years ago, there were not that much of expensive hospital stays. The diagnostic tests, medicines, everything was not that expensive. So what was happening? Not much attention was paid to what was not covered. So as the medical care became more expensive, they found that 20% of the care not covered by the government itself is a big amount. In addition, as the medical procedures were becoming very, very sophisticated, so the cost of medical procedures started going up. So they found that it is not possible for many to pay from their pocket. So now something new happened. It's called a supplemental insurance. It is supplement to the traditional Medicare. What does the supplement do? Very sorry. What does the supplement do? It supplements Medicare Part A. What is not covered, the 20% of what is not covered by Medicare Part A, which is 20% of the hospital cost, but plus, in addition to that, the doctor's visits, which is covered under so-called Part B, which was introduced later by Medicare to cover the physician's charges. So again, Part B also only paid 80%. Remember, Part B only covers doctors. Part A only covers hospital. So if 80% is covered, there's only 20% from your pocket. Slowly, people found even that 20% was too much. So now they have an insurance to cover that 20%. That is called supplement. So started with Part A, 80% coverage. Then Part B was introduced to cover the physician's costs. And Part A only covers 80%. Part B only covers 80% of the physician's costs. What is not covered, 20%, was covered by the so-called supplemental insurance plans. Now, because of the pressure by insurance industry, by very many capitalistic people, they demanded that some of these patients under Medicare should be given to alternate plans. Remember, Medicare is not an insurance. Part A is not an insurance. It's a government plan. Medicare Part B is not an insurance. It is a government plan. But what is not covered when you take a supplemental coverage, that is an insurance. That you get it from private insurance, whether United Healthcare or Cigna or whatever, Blue Cross Blue Shield. So that is a supplemental. Now they are trying to introduce a new concept. Look, they're telling the government, you don't have to worry about these patients. You pay us a fixed amount of dollars. Then we will take care of all their medical needs. And we will, you don't have to have the risk of managing these people. So some of these politicians took it up and then banged and made the Medicare Social Security Administration give up a so-called a fixed amount to private insurance companies. The largest ones are like United Healthcare, and then Humana, Cigna, all these insurance plans. So the government gives a fixed number of dollars. I don't know what it is, 50,000, 60,000 for every covered life. So if 1,000 people go to United Healthcare instead of Medicare, Medicare has no more responsibility for those 1,000 people. United Healthcare takes the risk So the money they gave was very sumptuous. So to induce more and more people to join their plan, these so-called advantage plans, they started giving, oh, you come here, you don't have to pay co-payment. You don't have to pay this. We'll give you, $100 every month. We'll give you ride to the hospital, taxi facility, this and that. If you wait and think for a second, where is the money coming from? The money is not coming from their pocket. Just to give you an example, Leonard Abramson, who was one of the insurance company executive, in 1999, he made $1 billion as his compensation. So $1 billion, instead of going for patient care, is going into the pockets of these insurance executives. So this slide, you don't have to look at all the details. Basically, all that you need to know is the very first line, if you can see here, it says here, generally 80% of allowable charges. That's what I was trying to mention. The rest is whether mammography, prostate cancer, this and that are irrelevant. And this one tells that your Medicare would not pay the first $1,600. That has to come from your pocket, etc., etc. So basically, the private insurance plans, supplemental plans, take care of those expenses. So you have to pay monthly supplemental insurance plan. I'm paying $300. Under the supplemental insurance plan, there is various categories, A, B, C, D, etc. The supplemental plan premium will be low for, say, category A, but proportionately, you may have to pay some co-payment. As you pay more and more monthly premium, you may need to pay no co-payment. For example, I'm paying $300 or so through Florida Blue Cross Blue Shield for my supplemental. I have no deductible. I have no payment owed, nothing. On the other hand, if somebody wants to have supplemental and then they have, instead of, I think mine is like H or J or something. If they go for plan A or B, they may pay only $100, $150, but they may have to pay co-payments. It's very, very complex. I don't want you to try to understand each and the nitty-gritty of the billing. I'm just giving you an overall picture that it's a pretty complex thing. Now look at this now. These private insurance plans. So sorry. Humana, they came with HMO, PPO. These are called advantage plans. They tell you, if you look at this Humana plan, Gold Plus, $0. You pay no money. And the benefits on the right side shows here. They give you silver sneakers, fitness programming. They give you payment for a membership to a health club, eye care, prescription drug coverage, etc., etc. And you pay nothing for primary care. For specialists, you pay $10. It looks very, very attractive. If you go to the next plan, PPO, it gives you more or less, similar benefits. The difference between an HMO and PPO, HMO, you are stuck with the state where you live. For example, as a Florida resident, if I take HMO, I have to get care within Florida. If I'm traveling, there is an emergency, fine. They will let you, for example, a patient of mine when I was in practice in Ohio, he had an HMO plan from, I don't remember, Tennessee or something. And he had an appendectomy done there. And after appendectomy was done, third day, the insurance company said, we won't pay for your care in the hospital anymore. You have to come back to Tennessee. And he had to drive or make somebody take him from there to Tennessee all the way just because of the plan, because they would not cover anything outside the state. So I will be touching upon this several times. So if you live in Florida and let's say you want to go to Cleveland Clinic for a specialized procedure in Cleveland, it's too bad. It won't work. With the PPO plan, they will give you a little more latitude. They'll say, okay, we have a panel of 25,000 physicians across this country. You can go to physicians if they are in your, whoever is in our panel. If you go outside the panel, we pay 70%. Sounds good, but it's very difficult. You go to out of state and you try to get care from a physician who is listed there. We don't know what kind of arrangement they have for the physicians out of state. Many of these people, even though the name is listed there, will refuse to see. So you have to be traveling, and then you're hustling, and then you're trying to figure out whom to go to. This doctor doesn't go, or the doctor will see you, but the hospital will not see you. All sorts of very complex setup, which makes it very difficult. So this is the point I'll be touching upon so many times. So let's go to the next one. The so-called Humana Gold Plan. Now you start paying payment. You pay $30 a month. In return, they give you a little more. Remember, they are not giving you, they are not a non-profit organization like a Red Cross or something throwing away money at you. They're not Red Cross. They are not whatever out there who are helping people. Insurance companies are out there to make money. It's an advantage to the insurance companies, not to you. So does it mean that we should not be thinking about advantage plan? Yes and no. We'll touch upon it. What are the problems with the advantage plan? Let us say you went to advantage plan thinking you're going to save some money, you don't have to pay any premium here, there. And then after some time, you get some complex medical problem. What are you going to do? The doctor suggested there, he's not really a recognized expert. Here was a patient who had surgery scheduled and right in on the Vivar resident. On the day of surgery, the doctor's office called, I'm sorry, I just found out I'm no longer in the panel. So when you enroll, that happens usually October, November, December, but the doctor's list is finalized in January. You will enroll in the plan thinking your doctor is there, but January, either doctor quit or the plan dropped him. So now this patient had to hustle, and finally he finds another doctor. So the other doctor schedules the surgery. Patient goes to the hospital. After they go to the hospital, they find out this HMO is not covered. Surgery was canceled. He's back. So it took him about 5 months before he could get some surgery done the way he wanted with a good doctor and good hospital. So what will happen, supposing a serious illness happened while you're on the Advantage plan? When you enroll at age 65, you are perfectly healthy. About 2 years later, you become a diabetic, and then you need something specialized care, and you want to switch over to a traditional plan. Now, the problem is you need to undergo what we call underwriting. Your entire medical history is reviewed, and then they will say, now you have a pre-existing condition. We're not going to take you. They'll say, you have to continue with the previous plan. So now is the time you need something and you're not able to do it. Will that condition happen to you? May or may not happen. So I'll be giving some examples as we go along. So the issue is, are you able to predict the future? How do you know what kind of a health problem you're going to get, say, 10 years from now? And at that time, if you have to switch, what are you going to do? Two of our close friends from Anand Vihar, they had a very complex cardiac problem. There is Cleveland Clinic here in Florida. But the guy who does the most cases and the best person, the best person is in Cleveland, Ohio. Because both of them had traditional with supplemental. There was no problem. They were able to go where they want to go and got it done. And they're functioning very well. So this is one problem. You may save money today, this month, next month, this year, next year, but when you really need, you have a problem. The question is, you may not have the problem for which you're going to need specialized care. Maybe you may just go to the neighborhood hospital, get these things done. Maybe it was an appendix. But how do you know? I had a medical problem, and I even went to Cleveland Clinic, and they just could not fix my problem. I had to go to Indiana, and that guy has done more procedures than anybody in the world, actually. So I was lucky because I shouldn't say I was lucky. I kind of considered all these things. I had traditional plan with supplemental. So I had the option to go where I wanted to go. That is something you have to keep in mind. Now, the question is, why are we talking about all this advantage plan, this plan, that plan? So ultimately, it comes to money, right? If you're going to be in a traditional plan, and then if you're going to have supplemental insurance, it is going to cost, I am trying to see how much it is costing me more. It is costing me about $3,000 or so. But I have total flexibility where I want to go. Now, all my medical visits are covered. But here I have a friend who is in an HMO or a PPO, I don't remember which one. But whenever he sees a doctor, there's a co-payment. Supposing he has to go 5-10 times to various doctors, this co-payment add up. So perhaps somebody who visits a doctor a lot, they stand to benefit if they are going to be totally in traditional plan with supplemental plan. But the chances are, as we get older, we are going to need more and more visits to the doctors, right? So your whole idea should be, what am I trying to do? Why am I trying to think of all these plans? To save a few $1,000s? So trying to say, what are you trying to do? You know, to pass it on to your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, at the expense of your own health? Let's ask a question. Is your financial resources limited? You're poor? You have no money. What are you going to do? To some extent, the mentality, who are rich, is always in the minds of Indians. They may be millionaires, but they'll be thinking, oh, the other guy makes more money. It's a sad trait, especially among Indians, and we have to admit it. Have you heard of this slogan, oh, 2 men and a truck, right? You know what is Indian mentality? 2 luggage and 1 man, instead of 2 men and a truck. Oh, I came with 2 pieces of luggage. And of course, I should not forget, I came with 2 bags and $8. This mentality is what is hurting us. Because you suffered so much and you came with $8, what difference does it make? You don't have money, I can understand. But if you think that you don't have money, then nobody can save you. You have to think clearly. And is this money that I earned, I worked hard, is it for my welfare, my spouse's welfare? Or is it to, like if you look at Kennedy clan, the present generation, 6th or 7th generation of Kennedy after Joseph Kennedy, who made millions in Great Depression, they're all getting, trust fund. They're all getting money. They're living very luxurious life. Has any one Kennedy has contributed to society or to the family name? Let people, children, earn, come up in life. Don't take away their motivation. I have some friends who tell me every penny they want to save because they have some a child who is disabled from some reason or other, and they want to save money. Perhaps that may be a valid reason, but this country has alternate arrangements for people with a disability, to tide them over the problem. No matter how much money you have, if somebody is disabled and they need lifelong care, no matter how much assets you have, it's not going to help. But this kind of situation only affects, in my opinion, very few people. What I find here among my co-residents here in this place is a tendency that, oh, I want to give this to my grandchild. I want to give that to that grandchild. I bought a car for my grandson. I bought this for my grandson. I got my European vacation, whatever, So give them essentials, help them with their education, this and that. You're going to give a car to your grandson, and then you're going to be pinching pennies for your own care. Think for a second. Do you want to have a peace of mind? Or you want your children to have peace of mind? My daughter calls me every other day. Oh, we over your dad. Why don't you come back to India and I'm proud to have a daughter like that, caring. There may be a time when I may be going near her, but I don't want her to be worried by taking some insurance plans which restricts my access to my good doctors, and then my children have to be all the time worried, concerned about my well-being. Is that what you want to do to your children? Doesn't make sense. I have heard this one. Oh, my friend has this plan. He is very happy. Why should I switch? Or why can't I switch to his plan? Remember, you and your friends have totally different set of genes. What you are going to get, the other person may not get. You may have diabetes, he may have diabetes. One person may be going to kidney failure, the other person may be going for an amputation. We don't know. So the point is, you want to have the best healthcare. And the amount of money, if you go and dissect and find out, probably about $3,000 in my opinion. It could be a little more or less. Don't tie me down to the last penny on this number I'm quoting. But the point is, if you have an HMO or whatever, and at some point you are going to be spending more money, more days inside the hospital than outside the hospital. So you and your friend are not exactly the same. Remember that. So in summary, it was already mentioned, but I will repeat. You need to be an MBA in finance. You have to be an insurance expert, healthcare expert. And on top of all that, you have to predict the future as to what illnesses you're going to get. So take care of yourself and the rest will fall in place. So that's the general outline. I know I didn't go into a lot more details and individual cases for two reasons. One, just not feeling too good to talk for a long time. Secondly, a question that you may have will be different from the other person. As I've given my contact information, you can contact me anytime. Of course, I expect you to make your own decision, but don't make the decision based on the money. Just for a few $1,000s, don't risk your life and health. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sir. But Chitpuram uncle, എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയാനുണ്ടോ?
Who is handling the Q&A?
Anaka is handling the Q&A.
Let's go to a few questions, Anaka.
Okay. Anaka?
നമസ്തേ. എന്തെങ്കിലും ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത് ഇവിടെ ഒന്നെങ്കിൽ ചാറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഇടാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒന്ന് ഹാൻഡ് റൈസ് ചെയ്താൽ നമുക്ക് 1 by 1 പോവാം. കുറച്ച് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് വയ്യാന്ന് പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. സോ വി വിൽ ടേക്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് നൗ.
സോ മെഡിക്കെയർ സപ്ലിമെന്റ് ഉള്ളവർക്ക് the insurance coverage better ആണെന്നാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് പറഞ്ഞതിൽ എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലായത്. ശരിയാണോ?
Question is it better to have Medicare with a supplemental insurance? That's the take-home point. That's the question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I would say the simplest one sentence answer is take Medicare supplement. That's the best insurance. It gives you access to practically any doctor, any hospital, not only in United States. Nowadays, in some of the supplemental plan, they even let you go to outside United States for surgeries, etc., specialist surgeries, which was not there before. I think up to $50,000 they would allow. But yes, you are absolutely right. Go to
Thank you very
supplement.
much.
Go to supplement and have absolute peace of mind.
Thank you very much. I think that's a good information, because can you share this video, because most of my friends are taking advantage, they are saving money, and they are sick people. So I wanted to share this video to the other people. Thank you very much.
Sure.
This is live recorded, and we'll share it on Sadgamaya TV. Auntie, we'll give you the link. We'll share the link for everybody who wasn't able to attend today as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to add on to what he said, I've had patients who went to India, had emergency surgeries, had stents put in, all those things. If you come back, if you have a Medicare with a supplemental insurance, you pretty much get reimbursed for the whole thing.
Even Ayurvedic treatment got covered from India. Money. My friend got it. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Thank you.
Nice to know. So yes, people can take advantage of all those things if you.
Yeah, if you have a supplement, I think you can get it, because there's somebody just recently got the money what they spend in India.
Yeah, one point I want to make. I have to verify this, but I'm told that because of the pressure on the Advantage plans, they do have a provision, similar provision to get treatment outside the country, but I think you may have to pay a special premium for it.
Anybody
Even
else?
on the Medicare supplemental, not all the plans will cover. You may have to go and verify that. For example, on supplement, I think there's plan A, B, C, like that, right? Up to about H or J. The plan A has a lower premium. So the number of benefits will be lower. If you go all the way to the right, it's more monthly premium, but it has a lot more coverage. Definitely the last 2-3 plans I know, they do cover up to $50,000 outside America for medical expenses, and I do have that plan. I'm not sure whether the plans to the left side have it. I'm not sure whether Advantage plan, all of them have it. I have no idea.
Dr. Ramon, you want to tell them a little bit about Plan D, Medicare Part D? Because I think a lot of them.
Yeah. Okay. Plan D is primarily for medicines only, right? Perhaps we should consider that for another day.
Okay.
Because discussion about Part D will fire me up. It is the most ridiculous plan that you have. I want you to go back, I think it is 2009. If you Google President Bush's statement about Part D, Medicare, prescription coverage and insurance, just go there and play it. This is how he goes. I want to tell all the insurance companies, etc., that this is Part D is not Part A or Part B. It is not a government plan. It is an insurance plan. You can do whatever you want. So, Prolia, an injection for osteoporosis, was $200. The week after he made the statement, next week it was $800. I believe now it is about $2,000 a shot. So we'll talk about that another day.
Okay, that's fine, because I think a lot of our seniors have no idea what Part D is and how that would affect them. So we will probably have another session on that.
Yeah, okay.
I have a question in the chat. How difficult it will be to switch to supplemental if we have an Advantage plan? Will the insurance company give you problems?
Yes, they will definitely
Jenna.
give problem. They'll give you problem. why would they give problem? It is this. If you have no serious condition, and supposing you develop no serious condition, just as an example, I'm telling you, let us say you had a borderline diabetes for which you did not need any treatment. And a year or two later, as you know, as people get older, the sugar slowly keeps going up and up, right? Now suddenly you need some medicine for diabetes. The underwriter can deny you saying, oh, you have a pre-existing condition, you have diabetes, so we're not going to let you. Now, I don't want to say exactly this is what will happen, but how an underwriter thinks and writes is very difficult. When I was practicing, I had fought with so many underwriters saying, this patient became a diabetic. All that he takes is metformin. It is $2 medicine. Why are you turning him down? The underwriters' requirements, criteria are very different. God only knows, they will never share with you. So you're taking a chance. If at when sometime in future you want to change, it may happen, may not happen, depends on your luck, depends on whether you got something new. So it's very difficult to predict.
Anakha, any more questions, Anakha?
But you should still try, right? I think they should, if
Ma'am.
somebody wants to try to switch, they should still apply. I think you should.
I would tell everybody, having listened to this one, call and switch as soon as you can to supplemental plans.
Yeah, if you end up doing a lot of surgeries, or if you end up requiring procedures and stuff, having Medicare with a supplemental will probably take you through without much problem,
Yeah.
as opposed to being stuck with an Advantage plan as you become older. That's something.
You hit it right on hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah,
I had a friend whose wife, she needed, she had some serious medical problem. She needed a CAT scan. She had an Advantage PPO plan. And before going, they already got approval. But when they went there, the radiologist said, no, we don't have an authorization. And they had to wait about 2.5 to 3 hours trying to get an authorization for a scan that is absolutely essential for their care. Now, with supplemental, you don't need prior authorization. The doctor decides what is good for you. He writes a CAT scan, you get it done. That's a big advantage.
Yeah, so as you become older, one thing I want to tell you is like Medicare pretty much will let you do anything that is needed for your medical care without questioning the doctor. So if the doctor thinks something is needed, it's very easy for us, if your primary insurance is Medicare, to get it done. But if
Yes.
your primary insurance is some of these Advantage plans, like he said, everything is a prior authorization and denials are like left and right. So because of that, quite often, if I have a physician assistant or a nurse practitioner working with me, it's very easy for me to tell them, if it's Medicare, just get it done. But if it's one of those other insurances, my PA has to call, my NP has to call, they'll deny everything. And then finally it will get to my desk. And whenever I get to talk to the insurance and approve it is when your test will be done. And because of this, if you're in a hospital, if you're having 1,000 tests done, it's such a difficulty that, the doctors themselves will decide, okay, let's do it as outpatient. We don't want to get it done. Just discharge the patient whenever. And when you go outpatient, it becomes even more complicated because, it's a wait time. It's a long wait time. Because in hospital, at least you have, quote unquote emergency. But when you're going there as an outpatient, you're really at their mercy because they think this is not an emergency anymore. They can do it whenever. So for all these reasons, it's very important, or it's really better to have Medicare as your primary insurance. Again, doctors do have a big responsibility to answer Medicare. They can't do any nonsense that they want. Anybody who is in practice knows, if Medicare, comes and audits you or something, you're done. So doctors will also be careful. They, just because you have Medicare and they can do anything, don't worry that they're going to just test you for unnecessary things. And talking in a community like KHNAs, I know all of you are educated, all of you are very aware of your medical conditions, and it's difficult to fool us. Okay, you just don't get fooled that easily. So you have the right to ask. And another thing I also want to tell you, I just know a friend's mother who was getting bills from her insurance company for a routine colonoscopy, some $500, $600. She was being paid when being billed when the insurance had already paid the doctor almost like $2,000. So this lady got frustrated. She kept calling and was almost ready to pay the insurance because she was done talking to all these people. And finally, my friend came to me to ask, one phone call from me, I stopped that bill from coming. So it's important to reach out to people who know these things, okay? Like Dr. Ramohan was telling you, like, call me if you have a doubt. So, someone who's been in practice, someone who knows these things, it's very easy for us to deal with them because we understand the nuances of these, terms that you probably don't understand when they say it's deductible or when they say it's like co-insurance or whatever. Things that you don't understand, maybe doctors will understand or someone who's been in this field. So if you have a friend who can probably make that call or at least explain it to you so you can deal with them better, please feel free to reach out to one of us. Okay, that's the other thing that I want to tell you. That's why we have forums like this. That's why we introduce you to people like this. So at least you know who to talk to, at least you know who to ask for help.
Just
Thank
want
you,
to point
Nisha.
out.
Thank you, Nisha. Thank you, doctor.
One
This is a
second.
very okay. Sure.
1 second. I want to point out something.
Okay.
It puts so much responsibility on the doctor. Some patient, you won't believe this. There was one patient family. They came with a gun to one of my fellow practitioners because the insurance company said your doctor put something wrong in it's a patient at an HMO, Medicare HMO Advantage. Your doctor has put something wrong. That's why it was denied. It was his problem. And this guy is coming with a gun to the doctor's office, demanding why the doctor made a mistake.
Yeah.
And how much valuable time it is taking away from the physician.
So it's, from a patient's perspective, first of all, if you're being ordered a test, especially as outpatient, know why it is being done. Ask them, do I really need it? What is the reason that I'm going for this test? And then, like the insurance part, of course, we already discussed what is easy to have to get these things done. Now, if you get a bill that you don't understand, feel free to call. Feel free to reach out before you pay. I know people like my in-laws, every bill they get, they'll just write it off. They'll just pay it because, they don't pay like that. Don't have to pay. Okay, just ask. Just ask. Maybe 80% of those you don't have to pay. So find out if you really have to pay those things. And then if you have to pay, you have to pay. But otherwise, just don't write checks because you get a bill. I guess we'll stop it at that. No more questions.
Thank you.
Is there
Thank
any
you very
other
much.
question?
Nekha, no more questions, right?
I don't see
No,
anybody.
this is no. Excuse me. This is a valuable information, and I really appreciate that this meeting. And I have this Medicare supplement plan since 8 years, and I moved to Houston, Texas, and I need a bone density because like every 2 years, and my doctor said it doesn't cover. Then finally, I told her that I'll pay from my pocket. Finally, they did it. That's why the doctors, they don't even order most of it, even though I have a good insurance. But so I'm keeping my supplement plan. And I tell people supplement plan is a very good plan. Thank you.
But don't offer the doctor that you'll pay out of the pocket. Okay, the doctor will always don't offer the doctor that, because the doctor will always, if it is something that you need to get done, the doctor will find a way to get it done. And tell them actually that I don't have money, but I want to get it done. So they will find a way.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So it's not, don't go and tell them like I'll pay. So they'll what do they get? But anyways, there are so many ways to get these things done. Like I said, it's easy to reach out to one of us who knows the nuances of these things. And definitely, Dr. Ramohan, it was a wonderful session. I'm sure it was an eye opener for a lot of people listening, including me. Because people will, as they get older, they want to know these things, and we'll definitely have more sessions like this for the future.
Yeah, there are questions. Actually, there are questions when we will have that another session on this already.
Okay.
We are
Thank you very much.
I don't think there is any other questions.
Thank you.
You can continue.
In another 6 weeks, we'll try to put a follow-up for this, including Medicare D and something else that we can think of. You can write in the senior forum what you want to discuss about your tests or whatever other things that you might want to know, and then we'll figure out how to do this. All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you Nishi Chichi, thank you Dr. Ram Mohan and Anaka. It was a wonderful session. ഇന്ന് ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ നിഷി ചേച്ചി ഒരു ഡോക്ടർ കൂടെ ആയതുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് ഒരുപാട് സംശയങ്ങൾ ചേച്ചിയുടെ അടുത്ത് നിന്ന് തന്നെ നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ പറ്റും. ഇതൊരു വളരെ ഇൻഫോർമേറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഈ സീനിയർ ഫോറം വളരെ മനോഹരമായി നമുക്ക് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ കഴിയുമെന്ന് തന്നെയാണ് നമുക്കുള്ള വിശ്വാസം. ഇനി നമുക്ക് വോട്ട് ഓഫ് താങ്ക്സിനായി PS നായർ അങ്കിളെ ക്ഷണിക്കാം. അങ്കിളും ഇതുപോലെ തന്നെ ടൈറ്റാനിയം ഫാക്ടറി, ടൈറ്റാനിയം കമ്പനികളുടെ എല്ലാ CEO ആയിട്ടിരുന്ന അങ്കിളാണ്. ഇന്ന് ഒഹായോയിൽ ക്ലീവ്ലാൻഡിലാണ് അങ്കിൾ താമസിക്കുന്നത്. എല്ലാ ആഴ്ചയിലും സൂം കോളുകൾ വഴി അങ്കിൾ ആയുർവേദവും യോഗ അങ്ങനെ പല പല സെഷൻസ് അങ്കിൾ നടത്തിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അങ്കിൾ, വെൽക്കം ഫോർ അവർ വോട്ട് ഓഫ് താങ്ക്സ്. അങ്കിൾ മൈക്ക് ഓൺ അല്ലേ? PS നായർ അങ്കിൾ.
സീരിയസ് നായർ അങ്കിൾ ഇല്ലേ കോളില്?
He was here. ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഞങ്ങളിപ്പോ സൗണ്ട് ഒക്കെ ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്താണ്. ഞാൻ നോക്കട്ടെ.
No unmute. I think he is a headphone.
Unmute ചെയ്യാൻ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്.
അങ്കിൾ അൺമ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് വെൽക്കം ടു ദ വോട്ട് ഓഫ് താങ്ക്സ് പറയാനായിട്ട് അങ്കിൾ ഞാൻ ക്ഷണിച്ചിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അങ്കിൾ പ്ലീസ്.
Okay. Is it clear now?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry. After the heart surgery, a little bit of, absent-mindedness.
No worries.
Okay, now, fine, thank you. Now, what a wonderful session we had in the morning today with an excellent knowledge every one of us need on Medicare. Thank you so much, Dr. Ram Mohan, and also Dr. Usha Pillai for arranging such a meeting. Well, I only want to ask you, tell me, whom do you love most? Have you ever thought of it?
PS Nair, of course.
I'm sorry?
PS Nair.
Uh-huh.
Who do I
Whom
love?
do you-
PS Nair for sure.
Yes, my answer is you love you most. There is no doubt about it. You always love you most. Of course, the great Advaita people say that inside you is the consciousness, the Brahman, that is what you love most. Okay, if you love you most, well, you have to love Medicare. It is very, very important.
Yeah, very important. Yes, you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. A person like me who had a brain surgery after an accident 2 years back, and now an open heart surgery with about 3 weeks back. Well, I would have become a total pauper if there was no Medicare, Medicaid. But I came out of the hospital with paying without virtually nothing. I had all those wonderful Medicare system in place. I'm so proud about it. Now, all that I want to add is, of course, you have to be careful. The moment you retire, especially, take care. First thing you take care is your Medicare. Important. And as Dr. Ramon said, include Medicare Advantage and see that you're safe in that area. That's the most important thing. And the second thing I would still suggest, be active. Be active, especially after retirement. You should find something to be active about. I am very active. Even at this age, at 82, I still run weekly 4 Zoom classes.
Wow.
Very well attended. One on yoga every Saturday morning. One of the best experts on the field, Santosh Kumar, is giving it. You join. I'll give you the Zoom link. It is excellent. And second, you will have every Sunday morning a class on Sanskrit. Don't get scared. It is one Narayaniam sloga one day, and Rajiv Bhaskaran explains it so well that you can join anytime, get into it, and learn all the Sanskrit, Vibhakti, all sorts of wonderful things. Within no time or within a few weeks, you will slowly start understanding any Sanskrit sloga put on. And then you have evening the Moolam Bhagavatam Prabhashanam. Beautiful talk on Moolam Bhagavatam, which is very interesting. And then comes the Ayurveda talk by Dr. Sethu Madhavan, one of the strongest experts in Ayurveda, Kerala. You are the director of Ayurveda. And he, wonderful. He solves almost the problem of almost all the participants in one way or other. Small problem, serious problem. Please join. I'll give you some. Sorry, I kept you for long. Thank you so much. Once again, I thank Dr. Ramohan, Dr. Nishapale, Dr. Mini Nair, Anaka, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. You all have a great day.
Are you feeling better? Everything is good?
Of course, I am feeling much better and happier.
Uncle, join our Andakshari. You will feel more better next month.
I had once joined, and
Yeah,
I sang Patagari Penny.
I know. Thank you.
Okay, I'll join. So thank you.
God bless you.
അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് വൈൻഡപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള സമയമായി അല്ലേ? അപ്പോ എന്തായാലും ഇന്നത്തെ അതിമനോഹരമായ ഒരു സെഷൻ സീനിയർ ഫോറത്തിന്റെ ഇനാഗുറേഷൻ ആണ് ഇന്നിവിടെ കഴിഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇനി അങ്ങോട്ട് ഇത് വളരെ ആക്റ്റീവായിട്ട് മുന്നിലോട്ട് പോകും തന്നെ. ഇപ്പൊ എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലായത് സീനിയർ സിറ്റിസൺ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു റിട്ടയർമെന്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് വർക്ക് അവസാനിക്കല്ല, ഫ്രീഡം ഓഫ് വർക്ക് എന്നാണ്. ജോലി ചെയ്യാനുള്ള സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം, എന്തും ചെയ്യാനുള്ള സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം. നമുക്കപ്പോ എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒന്നിച്ച് ഈ ഫോറം വളരെ വിജയകരമായി മുന്നിലോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ കഴിയട്ടെ എന്ന് ആഗ്രഹിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ ചെയർ ഗീത ആൻഡ് അനഘ, കോർഡിനേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത അനഘ, അതുപോലെ ലക്ഷ്മിക്കുട്ടി ചേച്ചി, പിന്നെ രത്നമ്മ ചേച്ചി, എല്ലാവർക്കും, അതുപോലെ ഇന്നിവിടെ ഗസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് വന്ന സാറിനും എല്ലാവർക്കും നന്ദി പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ KHNA കുടുംബാംഗങ്ങളുടെ പേരിൽ ഞാൻ നന്ദി രേഖപ്പെടുത്തിയുടെ നമസ്കാരം. നമുക്ക് വീണ്ടും അടുത്ത ഒരു സെഷനിലൂടെ കാണാം.
സീനിയർ ഫോറത്തിന്റെ സ്ഥിരം ആങ്കറായിട്ട് പ്രഖ്യാപിച്ചു കേട്ടോ.
ആര്?
സീനിയർ ഫോറത്തിന്റെ ആങ്കറായിട്ട് പ്രഖ്യാപിച്ചു.
സീനിയർ ചേച്ചി.
ഓക്കെ, അപ്പൊ എല്ലാവർക്കും നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം. വീണ്ടും കാണാം.
Thank you.